of Restaurant of the Year is Chutney Ivy.
So could you just tell us a bit about life before Chutney Ivy then?
Life before Chutney Ivy. I'm an immigrant from Bangladesh. I came here in 1977 as a 9-year-old. Grew up on a village. I was one of the reasons I think I really do enjoy the food industry and being a restaurateur is I've always been a foodie. But my first few years, particularly the first year when I came to this country, I didn't like the food, though it was too cold, couldn't make friends because of the language problem. But my language problem was easily solved because I was never a sporty guy because in the village there's not much sports to play. But for some reason, when I came to this country, I was very good at football. I was the only one in the school that could swim. So you made friends very, very quickly. The one thing that makes me love this city more than anything else, and the reason it stands head and shoulders above any other city in the world, in my opinion, is the multiculturalism of this city. I actually call this the poster city of multiculturalism in the world because we have such a cross-section of ethnicity from all across the world. And one of the main reasons why I love this city so much, because although we are a city, it's almost like a village and a small town. We all know each other. We all respect each other. And Leicester should be very, very proud of that.
There's a lot of competition with the curry houses, though. Is that something you embrace, or?
It is. I mean, as way back as the late 80s, as I always said, I've been very passionate about the food industry, especially the Indian food industry, and I used to do a lot of research. And in the late 80s, it emerged that that Leicester had more Indian restaurants than any other city per capita or per population outside London and Birmingham. So having more restaurants and curry houses than places like Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, these huge, huge cities, you're absolutely right. It just shows how much competition there is in Leicester. But competition always creates quality. And this is why, without any doubt, we don't need awards, we don't need any recognition nationally, but in my opinion, Leicester is the curry capital of this country. And the reason is because we have so many restaurants per population, the qualities, you can go to a sort of a very backstreet little cafe or go to a really high fancy restaurant and you'll always get real quality food. And that is down to the competition, and it's one of those great things about competition where it raises everybody's game, and you end up with great products that serve to the public.
Yeah. So when you were at school, you say that you were at school in Leicester. What schools did you go to?
I went to initially not far from my house, Medway Junior School. I think then it was already 100 years old. And then my secondary school was Judge Meadow Community College in Evington. And then I went to Queen Elizabeth to do my A-levels. I wasn't very good at my A-levels in the first year, but my interest initially, before I went into the family business, I always wanted to be a maths and PE teacher. So Charles King College, which is called Leicester College now, started it was the first time in the whole of Great Britain that sport was classed as an A-level, and Charles King Leicester College at its own now. That's where the first ever course started in 1987. So because my interest was so sports-minded and I always did want to become a maths and PE teacher, I took up that course. But during halfway through that course, that's when I gave up my education to get into the family business. There was other economic circumstances that made my decision easier to go, because we had the boom and bust of the 80s. So in the late 80s, 1988, when that recession hit, business was very, very tough. You know, one of the biggest expenses for any restaurant or hotel is the salary of staff. And because I was always messing around with food in the kitchen with the chefs, learning few recipes, we had to sadly let a lot of our staff go, and for the business to survive, and we've all been there, for the business to survive, we have to do those extra hours. So I became a chef, and I worked in the kitchens in that restaurant for 4 years. But that increased more of my passion for Indian food and learning new dishes. My love for other cuisines helped me to create sort of lots of fusion dishes that we've introduced in the Chutney Ivy menu.
So what was your vision when you set up Chutney Ivy then?
And my vision for Chutney Ivy was to have a really beautiful, contemporary, modern-looking restaurant that happens to serve great quality Indian food. Quality as in taste. It doesn't have to be overly fancy, but very heartwarming, home-cooked style of food in a great environment, but with great classic Indian hospitality. So our vision with Chutney Ivy was to create this venue where people can come in, be looked after, fussed over, whether they're on a date night with their loved one or having a family meal, but serving them the most amazing food, but in an environment where they feel like they are just in any other restaurant, but just happen to be dining on Indian food. We wanted to break the mold of what a curry house was. One of the things I tried to do that's different to other restaurants in our similar to ourselves, other Indian restaurants, is I've tried to stick to, and this is what makes us unique. Our menu, most of the menus are original recipes of certain dishes. For example, the lamb rogan josh in the restaurant is very, very popular because a lamb rogan josh is traditionally a red meat dish. We use lamb, you can use beef, certain parts of the world use beef, certain people use mutton, but it's always a red meat dish. There's no such thing as a chicken rogan josh, but some restaurants or even some of my customers may ask for it, and we can sort of tweak it to make it into a chicken rogan josh. Other dishes that I've created on the menu that are really popular, dishes that I enjoy, other different types, like Chinese food is I really do enjoy, the roast duck especially. So we've created a samosa that's influenced by the Chinese roast duck, but we used it as a substitute for minced lamb. So instead of having a lamb samosa, we've got the crispy duck samosa, which has become our one of our signature dishes. Another dish I've created is I'm a huge fan of prawns and seafood. Being Bangladeshi born, growing up in a village surrounded by water, fish has become a big part of my life. Prawns I've always loved. In fact, my cholesterol level is proof of that. But one of the dishes that has also become one of our, we're really well known for this, is our chili butter prawns, which is influenced by my love of French cooking. Which uses a lot of butter and cream and bits of garlic in there. So this is another dish that's become very, very unique to us. And I always think that you should, although we are very proud to be saying that we serve Indian cuisine, with modern people having modern tastes and trying different types of cuisine and so on. And the buffet restaurants, I think, has played a big part in that, the multi-cuisine. And people have tried lots of food, and they'd like to go to a restaurant and maybe try something that's off the menu or something that they wouldn't normally have in their favorite curry house. So introducing fusion dishes has become our signature note as well. Yeah.
And what have been some of the highlights for Chutney Ivy over the past?
Highlights? Oh gosh, there's been so many, but there's quite a few that's sort of far and above everything else. Getting into the Michelin Guide was literally, to describe the moment when I learnt, I literally fell off my chair and banged my head on the desk, because when I saw it come up on the on my computer desktop. Another highlight was being finalists at the British Curry Awards twice in the running, but the one thing that was surpassed all of that was, and I'm not saying this because this organisation is part of it, is the Leicester Curry Awards, and that for me was the highlight, because although we made it to the national finals, being recognised by your local people who are literally your bread and butter, who have supported us through the years, being voted by them to be the and winning that award was one of my real highlights. Other highlights has been just make. Do you know what? Making through, making it 10 years in business. That is, all the celebrations were scuppered by COVID. That landmark of reaching 10 years. But we also had quite a few highlights. We had quite a few celebrities go through our doors as well, and meeting some of them has been it's been from a personal note, and for them to sort of coming back, being on the doorsteps of the Curve Theatre helps. But when some of these stars come back again and they visit you again and they still remember your name, that just shows that we are doing something right. If anyone wants to go into the restaurant trade, you have to sacrifice a lot. You have to sacrifice family life. That's my one and only regret, is that the time that I didn't spend with my family, with my kids when they were children. But you really do that has to be overridden by the passion that you have. It is not all sort of glitter and glamour as most people tend to think. There is so many people who have gone into the restaurant industry, whether it be Indian restaurants or continental restaurants. They may be great cooks, but you do have to put the hours, and it is a real grinding job. You really do have to. I mean, I would roll up my sleeves and do the pots sometimes because your pot washer hasn't turned up, and you have to do this because there is a chain of command in the kitchen. And to me, the pot washer is one of the most important people. If there's no clean pots and cutlery, you can't serve your customers. So you have to get your hands dirty going into the food industry.
You say it's not all glitter and glamour, but how do you fancy your chances at this year's Leicester Curry Awards?
Do you know what? As every year, I am happy that it's still this brilliant award is there to celebrate my industry, what I've spent most of my life in. If we win, I'm just happy to be just part of it, to be even nominated. It doesn't matter to us if we win or not. Somebody who has won has truly deserved to win because they have put in their blood, sweat and tears into that. If we win, that's fine, thank you very much, but it wouldn't change how I am as a person. It wouldn't change who we are because we'll continue to serve the wonderful public in Leicester, continue to serve wonderful food, and I'll still get up for work the next day. So I look forward to I tell you what I really look forward to with the Curry Awards is the celebration of that, the whole the razzmatazz that's surrounding it. The night is absolutely brilliant. We always have great entertainment. There's always great food there, and you meet everybody else that we don't get a chance to meet. We're all working and running our different businesses, and it's great to see my fellow restaurateurs on the night share a drink, whether it be a glass of wine or an orange juice. And that is the highlight for me of the Curry Awards, meeting my all the other restaurants, because we don't get a chance because we're all working, running our businesses, and we don't really get a chance to see each other.
Well, good luck, and look forward to seeing you there.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you.